mind signing?
Hey, take. Come over here by me. Let's go. Come over here by me. Back up. Back up.
Well, that was the image that most people recognize today regarding Andrew Tate. Police officers, search warrants, handcuffs, court appearances. For millions of people around the world, I couldn't believe the person. I couldn't believe the person when I found out who he was. Andrew Tate's name is now inseparable from criminal investigations and international headlines. But that's not where his story began. Every controversial public figure has a moment before the controversy. There's a period when the world sees opportunity instead of the scandal, his confidence instead of the criticism, and success instead of his suspicion. Andrew Tate had that moment, and he used it to build one of the largest online audience that any influencer has ever created. This man right here. Show you Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate.
Hey guys, so today we're here at Andrew Tate's house, and I'm about to show you his house, his cars, and life in Romania. This is one of the craziest videos you're ever gonna see, so let's go inside. Oh, welcome.
Hello. Good. Hi, man, brother. Been a while. It's been a while. I heard you're fighting soon.
So guys, right now we just made it to Andrew's house. I mean, you got a nice house, so...
That's wild. This dude, before there were police raids, there was a lifestyle that millions of people wanted from Andrew Tate. Expensive cars, luxury home, private security, designer clothes, and total confidence became the foundation of this man's brand. He presented himself as a living proof that his philosophy worked. Masculinity. To his followers, he wasn't selling a dream. He was showing them what he claimed was the result of discipline, wealth, and complete control over your own life, though. And that image attracted millions of supporters. He still got supporters. That man still got supporters. It also made him one of the most influential voices speaking to young men in the world and on the internet. The question is not whether Andrew Tate became famous. The question is why so many people believed he had all the answers, specifically the young men, because they still spout the same rhetoric and talking points that he gave them years ago. Once people stopped looking at the cars and the houses, they started to pay attention to the ideas behind the brand. And this is my first introduction to Andrew, this video right here. Let me show you this video.
Who do whatever they want. Because we live in a time where the powers that be manipulate females through their emotionality to control weak men and control society. I want to say something here, and I hope this video doesn't get taken down for sexism, because I have a lot of love for females. Females are extremely important. They procreate, they create life. Females are beautiful, and they're kind-hearted. And I have nothing against women as a whole. In fact, I have a bunch of women. So I like women. But females, let me get my wording correct here. Females are barely sentient.
I heard that and I was like, That statement changed the whole game. So to his critics, it confirmed that Andrew's message was built up on degrading women and reinforcing those harmful stereotypes. To many of his supporters, they started using that language. It was another example of him saying what other people were saying or what other men were saying inside of their head. Whether people agreed with him or strongly disagreed with him, one thing became impossible to ignore from this man. Andrew Tate was no longer just an internet sensation or an internet millionaire showing off sports cars. He was actually an influencer. That was what an influencer was right there. Face, name, everything out in lights. He became a cultural figure whose words influenced millions of young men around the world. And some women too, I guess. I don't know. I came along after he was such a big thing. I came along on this internet after that. So I wanted to separate the man from the myth. I want to walk through his rise, examine the message that made him famous, and follow the chain of events that brought him to the top of the social media world to his downfall. Let's begin at the beginning, before he became famous. So when people talk about Andrew Tate, they usually start with the controversy, right? They start with the arrest, the podcast, the comments to spark the outrage, right? But if you want to understand how he became famous, the most influential person on the internet, you have to go back much further than that. He was born not rich, mixed, black and white. He's black and white. He's black. Okay? Black and white. Born 1986, Washington, D.C., to his father, Emory Tate, internationally respected chess player, right? Mother worked ordinary jobs to support the family. However it was, when they separated, they had to move back to England, right? So he said he repeatedly thought that he just didn't want to be poor. Being poor shaped him. Whether every detail of those stories is exactly as he tells it, I don't know, because that man loves to exaggerate. He loves big stuff. And who knows whether it's verified or not, this story that he has about him being poor. He wasn't interested in simply making a comfortable living. He wanted wealth that was impossible to ignore. As a teenager, he found his outlet as a kickboxer. He trained, became a multi-time world champion. Inside the ring, confidence wasn't optional. If you hesitated, you lost. So he exuded all of that confidence. Those are the same traits, that confidence, that discipline, that aggression, would later become the foundation of the public persona he sold to millions of young men. Success in kickboxing brought him recognition, but it did not make him a household name. Combat sports had passionate fans, but he very rarely reached, international fame where we would know him. Okay? He was successful, yet he was still largely unknown outside the fighting world. Everything changed when he realized that the internet could make him far more famous and make him far more money than any championship belt ever could, right? So this is where he made his money. Let me play this other clip.
Yeah, we have a little bit of construction going on, but it's all right.
Keep going.
Andrew Tate's mansion. The first thing you see once you come into this house is you see this giant samurai statue. This is pretty cool. I don't know what to say.
Can you take the sword out? Try it. No. Now they've seen the entrance. Before we go in, they have a crazy car collection. So let's go check it out.
Car collection. Before Andrew Tate became a political lightning rod or one of the most searched people on Google, he built a brand around aspiration. Young men, you be like me, you can get the things that I can get. Every expensive car, every luxury home, every designer watch, every display or wealth served the same purpose. He wanted people to look at his lifestyle and believe he had discovered a formula that everybody else had missed. Specifically, young men had missed this formula. That formula wasn't a marketing as much as it was luck. It wasn't marketing as a privilege. It was marketing as discipline, aggression, confidence, and refusing to kowtow to ordinary people. That message resonated with millions of young men who felt frustrated where they were. See, this is where that men can't be men anymore. Y'all don't want men to be men anymore. I hear it all the time, even now. You hear it in the comment section. Y'all women, we it's toxic masculinity. We can't be men no more. I heard that phrasing when this man was in his heyday. Okay. That his wealth attracted attention, but the confidence is what created the followers. People didn't simply want Andrew Tate's cars. They wanted his certainty, his confidence. They wanted to believe that if they copied his mindset, copied what he did, they could build the same lifestyle. That combination turned him from a former kickboxing champion into one of the fastest growing influencers on the planet. But flashy cars and expensive house were only the bait. The real product Andrew Tate was selling wasn't the luxury. It was a worldview. The worldview of a man who took the world by the seat of the pants, by the balls, and did what he wanted to do. His worldview transformed a lot of people, a lot of young people, a lot of teenagers, a lot of kids that were 13, 14 years old knew who Andrew Tate was. Okay, loved Andrew Tate. So Andrew Tate understood something long before many other of these influencers did. The internet does not reward the people who is most qualified. It rewards the people who cannot stop talking about it. That became his strategy. He wasn't trying to appeal to everybody. He wasn't appealing to women. Women didn't like his message. Women are barely sentient. Really? He said that women are barely sentient. He wasn't trying to avoid criticism. He understood that every controversial thing that he said would be clipped, reposted, debated, and shared by. He became the OG on TikTok. He became the OG, and that's how he became famous on TikTok too. Every argument was free publicity. Every outrage cycle introduced him to a new audience. Then he created Hustlers University. On the surface, it was marketing as an online education program where members could learn stuff, learn to invest, e-commerce, cryptocurrency, copywriting, and other ways to make money. Thousands of people signed up, thousands, paying a monthly subscription to him fee because they believed Andrew Tate had discovered a path to financial freedom and wealth and traditional masculinity that education could never touch. The business model, however, extended beyond the lessons. Members were encouraged to create social media accounts dedicated to posting Andrew Tate clips. The more clips that spread across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, other platforms, the more people discovered him. New viewers became paying members, and those members created even more content. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy, a self-reinforcing cycle that dramatically expanded his reach. So suddenly, Andrew Tate seemed impossible to avoid. I don't know how I did, because I had never heard of him until I got on the internet and saw that he was really famous. Never knew him, never thought about him. Whether you agree with him or no, you hated that man. His face was everywhere. Algorithms recognized that people watched his videos, argued in his comment section, shared his videos, shared him with his friend. Social media platforms are designed to reward engagement, and controversy often generates more engagement than agreement. Okay, and this is what he decided that he was going to show the world. Let me show you this other clip. Hold on.
So starting out in the
Hold on. Pull me out and put it on. Hold on.
collection, the first car we have is the classic Maybach.
Why do I keep doing that?
Out? Try it. No. Now they've seen the entrance. Before we go in, they have a crazy car collection. So let's go check it out. So starting out in the car collection, the first car we have is the classic Maybach.
Oh, don't do this to me. Oh,
Hey guys, so today we're here at
okay.
Andrew Tate's house, and I'm about to
So
show
that
you
was the clip.
this.
That was the clip that I had. That was the only clip that I had. Hold on. Uno momento. That was the only clip that I had. So people saw this stuff all the time from Andrew. People saw his lifestyle all the time. Okay. Andrew, he became one of those political lightning rods. And people searched him all the time. Searched him. People built inspiration around him. Every expensive car, every luxury home, every designer watch. He wanted people to look at his life, and he believed he had discovered that formula that everybody wanted. I said, this guy has got these people by the balls. This guy, the luxury lifestyle became the visual evidence that his system worked. The mansion, the sports cars, the designer clothes, the private jets, everything reinforced that message. Andrew wasn't asking people to trust his theory. He wanted them to believe they were looking at the results. So for many of these young men struggling financially or searching for direction, that message was incredibly appealing. Masculinity. Here was somebody speaking to them in complete confidence, rejecting excuses, presenting himself as proof that extraordinary success was available to anybody willing to think differently and work harder. But that confidence can make people overlook an important thing, an important question. Is the lifestyle the product, or is the lifestyle simply the advertisement? That distinction matters because while millions of people focused on the cars and the money, Andrew Tate was introducing a much broader philosophy about women and power and relationships and the roles of men and women. Some people heard motivation. Other people heard misogyny. The disagreement wasn't about whether Andrew Tate was influential. By this point, that was beyond debatable. The disagreement was about exactly what was he teaching. That debate would soon move beyond clips on TikTok and podcasts. It would be tested in mainstream interviews where Andrew Tate would have to defend his ideas under direct questioning instead of speaking to an audience that had already admired him. That's when one interview, and one statement in particular would become impossible for him to escape. It wasn't because someone took his words out of context. It was because the words came directly from him and the entire world was listening. Up until this point, Andrew Tate had built a remarkably successful brand. Millions of people admired this man, his confidence, his discipline, the image of financial success he portrayed. His supporters argued that he was motivating young men to take responsibility for their lives instead of excuses. But his success also brought scrutiny to him. The larger audience became the more attention people paid to what he was actually saying. Critics began looking beyond the luxury cars and the motivational speaks. They started listening carefully to his views about relationships, gender, and power. That's when one statement became impossible for him to ignore. The women are barely sentient. Hold on, let me play it again. Let's play it again.
So I like women. But females, let me get my wording correct here. Female are barely sentient.
I love it. Those words were spoken in the middle of they weren't spoken in the middle of a relationship or a fight or anything like that. These relationships were spoken out loud, just casually. They were part of a broader explanation of why Andrew Tate viewed men and women so differently. The word sentient simply means capable of thinking, reasoning, and making independent decisions and thought. So when someone says women are barely sentient, they're making a sweeping claim about women's ability to think for themselves. Whether somebody believes he was joking, exaggerating, or speaking literally, it is a statement that naturally drew widespread criticism because of what it implies. This is also where Andrew Tate, his supporters, and critics parted ways. His supporters often argued that he used exaggeration to make a point, that he's entertaining, and that many of his comments are taken out of context. Whenever somebody got to ask you about context, that means they're lying. They see him as somebody who challenges modern ideas and masculinity in relationships. His critics argue something very different. They believe the statements reinforced harmful stereotypes about women and encouraged a worldview in which women are treated as intellectually or superior, socially inferior. This is where we got the red pill. It was reinforced by this person substantially. That disagreement, the disagreement became between the critics and his supporters, became one of the most defining debates around Andrew Tate's rise. The important point is not whether everyone interpreted his words the same way. The important point is that his words became the story. People were no longer talking primarily about his wealth and his business. They were debating his ideas. Eventually, those debates reached mainstream television, where Andrew Tate could no longer speak only to an audience that already loved him and admired him. He was sitting across from interviewers whose job was to challenge him, ask him difficult questions, and give him every opportunity to explain or reconsider what he had said. And yes, he did go on Piers Morgan. And this is the interview right here.
From London, this is Piers Morgan Uncensored. Well, good evening from London and welcome to a special edition of Piers Morgan Uncensored. Andrew Tate, one-on-one. He's the most famous man you probably never heard of, with billions of views online. At one point this year, more people were searching Google for Andrew Tate than Donald Trump or Kim Kardashian. A former professional kickboxer, he was kicked off Big Brother in 2016 after a video emerged of him striking a woman, in what they now both claim was a consensual sex game. He's since made millions as a pornographer and casino owner in Romania, but it's his online videos that have made him notorious across the world, posing as a playboy with fast cars, cigars, weapons and cash. He rants about his often scandalous views on women.
Or instruct a female to provide sustenance.
That's wild. That interview became a turning point. Piers Morgan didn't ask Andrew Tate what other people thought he meant. He asked him directly about those statements he had already made. Instead of distancing himself from those remarks, Tate defended many of those remarks and explained why he believed his views were being misunderstood. For his supporters, that willingness to defend his beliefs demonstrated his consistency. They saw somebody refusing to change his opinion simply because they had become unpopular. For his critics, it confirmed that these statements were not accidental or isolated. They reflected ideas he continued to stand behind. When questioned face to face on one of the world's biggest stages, that distinction matters because it shifted the conversation. People were no longer debating the clips taken from podcasts and social media. They were watching Andrew Tate explain his views in real time, under direct questioning, with millions of people listening. The interviews kept the debate alive, though, but they would soon be overshadowed by something much larger. Public arguments over Andrew Tate's words eventually gave way to questions about his conduct, his business operation, and investigations that would place him at the center of international headlines. By the end of 2002, Andrew Tate had accomplished something very few people had achieved. He had become impossible to ignore. Supporters saw him as somebody who was pushing back against political correctness and encouraging young men to become stronger, more disciplined, and financially independent. Critics saw someone whose influence was normalizing misogyny, ideas, and promoting unhealthy attitudes about power and relationships. Whether people admired that man or strongly disagreed with him, everybody seemed to be talking about Andrew Tate. Then everything changed. 2022. Romanian authorities detained Andrew Tate, his brother Tristan Tate, and 2 Romanian women as a part of an investigation into allegations that included human trafficking, rape, criminal group organization. The brothers denied the allegations from the beginning, maintaining that they had committed no crimes. But I don't think you can deny half of this. I don't think you can deny this, right? Let me play it again. It's wild. Play this clip. If it comes up, well, I'll play it. Here it is.
Hey, would you mind signing? Hey, come over here by me. Let's go. Come over here by me.
Back up. Back up. Back up. Guys, back up.
Fitting in. Images spread across the world instantly. The man who had spent years projecting complete control over every aspect of his life now became escorted by police officers in front of cameras. That contrast was impossible. It is impossible to miss. The same social media platforms that helped make him famous were now flooded with footage of his arrest. Many people, those images became the defining picture of Andrew Tate. But the legal process does not end in arrest. Over the months that he got arrested previously, the case became increasingly complicated. Romanian courts reviewed detention orders, adjusted restrictions on the defendants, and legal proceedings. Andrew and Tristan Tate consistently denied wrongdoing and argued that the allegations against them were false. The legal story continues to evolve, but something else was happening at the same time. Public opinion had already divided us. One group continued that he was innocent. The other group concluded that the allegations were true. They argued in public, on forums, platform. Until a court reaches a verdict, they will maintain that he may be innocent. These are fundamentally 2 different positions, but they share one principle. In a system governed by rule of law, criminal allegations are not the same as criminal convictions. Investigations, arrests, and indictments are significant developments, but they do not determine their guilt. That determination belongs in court, where evidence is examined and legal standards are applied. That distinction is easy to lose in the age of social media. Andrew Tate's story is still unfolding. His influence remains enormous. His supporters remain loyal. His critics remain vocal. He has charges in 2 different countries, Great Britain and Romania. Great Britain is the arrest that they made yesterday. Okay. That's who arrested him yesterday. Great Britain. Okay. Yeah. Let me put this on the stage.
Benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds, and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
Well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny.
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying that age.
You're saying 18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Well, than ageist perhaps, but misogynistic absolutely.
Is that
not.
But you just accepted it was misogyny.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
So you don't think if you're saying slightly hateful things about a 25-year-old...
That's not slightly hateful.
Well, it is. You think you say that to a woman's face if she's 25?
It's not slightly hateful.
So you would go up to a 25-year-old woman and tell her exactly what I've just read out.
Why would I walk up to a random 25-year-old woman?
Because you said it in public on the internet, and it's been listened to and watched by millions and millions of young, impressionable boys.
Correct. There was a large panel. There was a conversation. There was hours long of conversation. There were feminists attacking men for toxic masculinity and attacking me and saying things. And I said things back which were going to antagonize
But I think, see, I'm...
That exchange captures the central tension of Andrew Tate's public life. To his supporters, it demonstrates conviction and a refusal to bend to pressure. To his critics, it demonstrated an unwillingness to acknowledge the impact of his own harmful words. Whichever conclusion people reach, the fact is beyond dispute. Andrew Tate did not become one of the world's most famous controversial people by accident. He built a brand around confidence, wealth, unapologetic opinions. Those same qualities attracted millions of followers, generated intense criticism, and ultimately placed him at the center of a global controversy. Andrew Tate. What a waste.
Tristan, anything to say?
It's crazy, man. Honestly, it's unbelievable to actually see them being led away like this. So it looks like we're seeing this the same thing pretty soon. See Tristan wearing the suit. He shaved his head recently. And that's him being led away as well.
When history looks back on Andrew Tate, people will remember one of two images. Some will remember the Bugattis, the mansions, the cigars, and the message that men should reject mediocrity and take responsibility for their lives. Others will remember the criminal investigation, the arrests, and the statements about women that sparked controversy. The reality is that both images are part of the same story. Andrew Tate did not become influential because he was the loudest person on the internet. He became influential because he understood what millions of people were searching for. Many young men were looking for direction, confidence, discipline, and success. And Andrew Tate stepped into that vacuum. That dude stepped into that role like he was born to it, and he was born to it. That certainty became his greatest strength. It also became his biggest liability. When somebody speaks with complete confidence, people naturally assume that confidence reflects truth. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. The responsibility belongs to every one of us to separate confidence from evidence and charisma from credibility. Andrew Tate built an extraordinary brand. Whether you admire him or you strongly disagree with that man, it's difficult to deny that he changed conversations about masculinity, success, relationships, and the power of social media. He changed all of that. Even after years of criticism, Andrew Tate continued to defend many of the ideas that made him famous. To his supporters, that showed conviction. To his critics, it showed an unwillingness to reconsider the impact of his words. That division is right there. That division still exists. Now, Andrew and Christian are dual British and U.S. citizens. Both of them were born in Washington, D.C., and a mother moved with a mother to England. Then they later relocated to Romania, I guess in 2016 and 2017. And that's where much of the Romanian investigation is centered. There are multiple legal cases involving the brothers in different countries, so it's helpful to separate those. So in Romania prosecutors have accused them of human trafficking, forming an organized criminal group. Andrew Tate also faces grape charges in Romania. Later Romanian investigation added allegations involving trafficking, sex trafficking of minors, and actual intercourse with a minor against some of those people that lived in the mansion with them. And the brothers deny all those allegations. Okay, they denied all the wrongdoing in Romania. Then they have to go to United Kingdom. United Kingdom is who came and got them in Miami yesterday. United Kingdom got tired of waiting for Romania to do what Romania had to do, because they saw the Tate brothers jetting all over the world doing whatever they want to do. So UK said, no, we finna come get them. They finna get extradited. So the UK has separate criminal charges involving alleged offenses that have occurred since 2010, between 2010 and 2017. Okay, the charges for Andrew Tate are grape, human trafficking, arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation, assault, occasionally actual bodily harm, controlling prostitution for gain, and more recently they added different charges. They added some indecent images of children and extreme pornography, which were authorized by the Crown Prosecution Service. Tristan Tate for grape, sexual assault, human trafficking, assault occasioning bodily harm. Both deny the UK allegations as well. As of the latest developments in the United States, the brothers were arrested in Miami, of course, on a UK extradition warrant. The arrest was made so the U.S. authorities could process the UK request and have them face those British charges, because Romania was taking too long. Okay. They have denied all the allegations. They've denied all of the allegations. Okay. So the courts will determine the legal questions surrounding Andrew Tate, and that process should be allowed to run its course. So it is what it is. They have run from the law long enough. My understanding was that Donald Trump gave them the okay to come to Miami, gave them the okay to get into the United States. That's how they got here. Because remember, Andrew and Tristan were in Romania and they couldn't leave Romania. For some reason, somebody went to Romania and told the Romanian people, we want to bring them to the United States. And Romania allowed them or released them from Romania, and then they came to the United States, and I guess they've been here ever since. I don't know where they've been traveling, because I haven't really been paying attention to them. But they were under house arrest for a long, long time when it came to Romania, right? So, but there's another question that each person has to ask themselves about. When you strip away his money, strip away the luxury, strip away the social media persona, what's left? Was Andrew Tate a motivational figure who challenged young men to improve their lives? I believe he was. Was he an influencer whose rhetoric crossed lines that deserve criticism? I believe he did. Or was he both? He was both. As far as I'm concerned, those are the questions that will continue to be debated long after the court case is ended. But he still was a despicable human being. He was a despicable human being. I don't want people say, well, he may be innocent, blah, blah, blah. Nobody gets accused of all of those charges. 10, 20, 30 charges. I don't know how many, but it looks like it's like over 10 or 15. Nobody gets accused of all of those charges, and some of them ain't true. This is what's called, there's no smoke without fire. Okay. Nobody gets accused of all of those charges, and you ain't guilty of something. Grape, sexual assault, human trafficking. That was my understanding, that he had a business where women were soliciting or saying they were going to do sexual favors, and then it never came through, or no, came through fruition. It was just calls and whatnot. Who knows? That stuff. Who knows? And then there was an influencer on here, somebody named Miss Southern, Lauren Southern, who accused him of some kind of activity. She said she got involved with him and he did some wild stuff with her. Allegedly. So These are not nice human beings. These are not nice human beings. They never were. Okay? The misogyny, the way they talk to women, the way they treated women, the way they influenced the red pill here on YouTube. Some of the things that men say now are directly from this person. People believed the thing that he said. Okay? They believed everything he said. Okay? He transformed himself from a kickboxing champion into one of the most recognizable and controversial figures of the internet, on the internet. He's going to be long remembered. He's going to be long remembered. Whether his legacy is ultimately remembered as inspirational or cautionary or a combination of both will depend not only on the outcome of this legal cases, but on how history judges the ideas he chose to promote. And seeing as how they still say the same things that he said in some of his interviews, is going to outlive whatever he put down. They're going to pick up and they're going to run with it. And they're going to continue to say the things that he used to say because it appealed to somebody. It appealed to somebody. It appealed to young men, masculinity, because I heard it myself. Y'all won't let men be men. Men are toxic. Well, that's where toxic masculinity came from. Men can't be men. And I could hear the men saying the things that he was saying. And that's crazy. But then again, people want somebody to give them direction. And if people want somebody to give them direction, Andrew Tate gave people direction. It was what, yeah, he was one of the major perpetrators of the toxic masculinity. Let me read these. Let me read the chat. The chat. Andrew Tate tells the truth. Of course, he tells the truth to you, homeboy. Of course, Andrew Tate did tell the truth. All of these things are true, everything. But he also put across the world misogynistic ideas, and come to find out he was doing all of this illegal stuff behind the scenes if they find him guilty. Okay. His formula was trafficking women with impunity because he was being protected. Of course. Like he was promoted out of envy and consumerism. Yes. It seems like he was. Who knows? This is a wild case of him having to go back to jail. I hate for somebody so famous to be caught up in going to jail, but they gonna throw the book at that man. They gonna throw the book at that man. Okay, they gonna throw the book at that man, and there's nothing anybody can do to save him. Donald Trump brought him to the United States. Somebody helped to bring him here. And my understanding when I heard about it was Donald Trump helped to bring him here. But Great Britain said, no, y'all got to come over here and y'all got to do your time. Okay? Y'all got to do your time. And they going to make him do the time because they going to let him get expedited over there. And this is how Andrew Tate meets his demise. This was the wildest statement I ever heard when
do whatever they want. Because we live in a time.
Hold on.
Where
this was the wildest statement I ever heard him make. This was the first thing I ever heard him say.
The powers that be manipulate females through their emotionality to control weak men and control society. I want to say something here, and I hope this video doesn't get taken down for sexism, because I have a lot of love for females. Females are extremely important. They procreate, they create life. Females are beautiful, and they're kind-hearted. And I have nothing against women as a whole. In fact, I have a bunch of women. So I like women. But females Let me get my wording correct here. Female are barely sentient.
That's a bold statement. That's a bold statement. And it's an insult to women all around. But then again, he went too far. And this is how he got taken down. This is how he met his demise. Sometimes you can be a degenerate and still be influential in the world. We're not even gonna go there. He's a degenerate. What he promoted was degeneracy. Maybe some people took his message and ran with it as a human, as a needing that prop, needing more, a more masculine role figure in their life. So they hooked on to Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, and they decided, hey, I needed to do exactly what he was doing in order to have his lifestyle. But look what that fast car and fast money and fast lifestyle get you. That fast car, that fast money, and that fast lifestyle is getting you to jail. You don't just take women and put women in a small hole and say they're not sentient or say they're not worthy of consideration. It seems to me that he has taken women for granted for a very long time, and now it's caught up with him. Two countries. Someone in the chat is saying, "Hey, those charges are bullshit. They ain't bullshit in both countries. They're not bullshit in both countries. Even if he beats one, they ain't gonna let him beat the other one. He could probably beat the one in Romania because he probably never had to go back to Romania. But he ain't gonna beat the one in UK. They came all the way over here to get him. So that means they got proof that he is what he is. He is what he is. You all hit the like and the share and like and the subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. If you like my commentary, please wait for the next video. It'll probably be tomorrow morning. Who knows? It sure won't be tonight. But I appreciate you guys coming out. The Tates, there's nothing anybody can do for the Tates, okay? Because he is what he is. John Patrick, are you handicapped or something? John, are you handicapped? Democrats use lawfare to try to take out Donald Trump. Your president is a scammer. Face the facts. Come to find out the Russia collusion. There is no Russia collusion hoax. Oh shit. We got somebody either drinking or we got somebody who's off their meds. Somebody check on John, because John Patrick went nuts in the chat. I appreciate how come make a 15% better responsible news. John Patrick, I think you need to get off. You need to check your meds, because you saying stuff that's just wild and don't make sense. So please hit the like and subscribe. I appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow. I definitely will be back tomorrow. We got to run. We got to do what we got to do. And I appreciate all of you guys for showing up this early in the morning. I am up most nights. So I decided to do it at 7 o'clock. So I appreciate all of y'all. Please hit the like and share. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you. See you in the next video. Appreciate it.